Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. We have had our Volkswagen ID.4 for 3 years and our free charging plan has finally expired. Let's get into it. That's right, everybody. We have had the Volkswagen ID.4 for 3 years and we have enjoyed it. Now we have the whole battery recall thing we're going through, but we're going to work through that. But aside from that, it drives great. It's taking us everywhere we've wanted to go. And I would absolutely recommend this car to anyone. But when we got this car, it came with free 30-minute charging sessions for Electrify America for 3 years. And if I'm being honest, we don't use it that often. Pretty much whenever we would go on trips, we would use it. Aside from that, we just charge at home because charging at home is far more convenient than me driving to the closest Electrify America for us, which is about 20 minutes away, charging and then driving home and making a routine out of that. That just wasn't a part of our plans. And so we just haven't used it like that. However, I know that a bunch of people bought the ID.4 or in fact other EVs that had free charging plans because of the free fuel. And that totally makes sense from a fiscal standpoint, saving a lot of money on fuel, especially while you're buying maybe a slightly more, not maybe, a definitely more expensive vehicle to get that free electricity and also have lower maintenance. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts and opinions overall about this program. I already really said what it is for us, but talk about what it is for us, for other people. And then I want to see if plug and charge still works, because when they initiated plug and charge for that Volkswagen ID.4, it was associated with the 30-minute charging plan. So I'm not so sure that plug and charge is going to work anymore. So anyway, stick around and let's get into this video. All right, so right now I'm waiting at a charger to be able to even plug in to charge, which is unfortunately a typical experience for me around here where I live. I'm not really able to use Electrify America in the rare instances that I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll stop and charge, run into Target, and then it's usually full with like a 2 or 3 car queue. So every time I do that, I'm never able to use it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. So anyways, for our family, like I said earlier, we've taken a bunch of trips, and because of that, we've been able to save a lot of money. I drove all the way out to Austin, Texas. That was almost exclusively paid for by my plan, because at that point in time, really, Electrify America was the only game in town. Maybe there were a couple other, but couldn't use Tesla superchargers, and I was able to take advantage of that and save money as I drove across the country. We've taken some other trips here and there to the beach and some other places, and we were able to use it, but that's pretty much it. The majority of our driving, I would say 80%, is done at home. And like I said, we're not close enough to a station, so we just charge at home. It is convenient. And, it's not free, obviously, but I would take the convenience of just being home than having to create a routine and go outside of that. So I already kind of talked about that, so I don't want to dig too much into that. So at least from my family's perspective, this plan hasn't been that impactful for us. And that's what I expected going into it. The road trips, save the money there. At home, probably not going to do it. Now, additionally, like I said earlier, people got the cars because of the free plan. I don't need to talk more about that. But what I observed as me being kind of a third party in this scenario was these free charging plans were encouraging people to have bad charging habits. Now, if you have ever had a car that doesn't have free charging, you obviously just want to only get as much energy as you need, or up to a certain limit. So maybe you're always targeting 80%. For people who have the free plans, I observed many times over the last 3 years, people were wanting to charge up to 100%. And what happens after 80% is it takes a lot longer to charge. So typically 10 to 80 is maybe, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes with most modern cars. And then going 80 to 100, and most cars can take anywhere from the same amount of time, so 20, 30 minutes, all the way up to, 40 minutes, maybe some are a little bit longer. I've never had one that was that long. but it can take a long time to charge up there. And so at that point, now we are slowing down the throughput of a station. And if I'm being frank, it's not the consumer's fault. The consumer bought the car for the free charging. It's really Electrify America's fault for not thinking about how that was going to clog up charging. Now, ultimately what happened was this created bad experiences for people. So people would go to chargers, there'd be these long queues. People want to get their free juice, which again, they're entitled to. I'm not judging those people at all. But now people are like having to wait a long time and these bad experiences happen. And now they're like, man, I totally regret getting an EV. Now, I don't have any sort of statistic of people who like maybe because of these bad experiences got rid of their EV, but there's probably some, right? And showing up to a charger and not being able to charge or having to wait a really long time to charge when you're in a hurry is exceptionally frustrating. All right, everybody, the charger opened up, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. And let's see if plug and charge still works. Again, my guess is no. Some of you who already know are probably like, there we go, we're plugged in the comments or like judging me. Connecting to vehicle. This may take a minute. And yep, so no plug and charge. Yikes, that is really unfortunate. I wonder if they have any sort of plan to get plug and charge again back to us customers. Well, let me go ahead and use my phone. All right, so I went ahead and used my phone to activate. I don't really need to charge that much. I'm at a pretty high state of charge. Apparently I still have my Pass Plus. I didn't realize I was still paying for that. But yeah, yikes. Just want to show everybody that plug and charge is no longer in the charge settings, so definitely not available anymore. But anyways, yeah, like I was saying, it's just frustrating to have those experiences. I do want to mention, this is a story that kind of encapsulates a little bit of that experience of, having people have bad etiquette. One time I was driving to, I believe, Electrify Expo in New York on Long Island, and I went to a charger and it was full, and I was able to get a spot, and then an ID.4 owner came up to me and he like was trying to, I guess, explain to me that I could like unplug and replug in and get more free charging. And I told him I don't want to charge up that much, and also like, it's gonna clog up charging for others. And he didn't seem to really quite get it, which is fine. Like I said, people are entitled to their thoughts and opinions, but it's just like, I don't know, free, to me, I've always been against free anything. I just think free is not good and it creates bad habits. And that was really evidenced through this program, at least in my experience. Share your experiences down below. Maybe you're somewhere that doesn't have as many EV owners and it's not a big problem. But for me, I've definitely seen it. Now, I've had my share of like driving across the country where I've seen no one at chargers, and that is absolutely true. But yeah, definitely just creates those bad experiences. Now, reflecting upon this, should they have done this free charging? No, I really don't think they should have done the free charging. I like the limited plans, or maybe get like 100 kilowatt hours, or maybe get like a couple sessions. I think that's good to first get people to the Electrify America chargers, which is probably what the intent was. But also to like, give people a little treat. And then after that, they can decide where they want to choose to charge. Something I'm seeing a lot lately now from charge point operators is they're actually just on random days, or maybe specific days, decided days, they're just dropping the prices and then advertising it. And this will help push people and encourage people to go charge at a location. This doesn't require people having a charging plan. And since the fact that it's like a major drop, it really could encourage people to go to. And I've heard a lot of people do it. And so like Mercedes-Benz has done that. Ayana has done that. I'm trying to think if any others. Those are the only two I can really think. But maybe if there's any others, leave them down in the comments below, fill in my gaps. But yeah, so I think that would be probably a better plan. And that seems to be what most, at least charge point operators are moving forward with, because they want their customers to have a good experience. Totally agree with them and what they're doing. So hopefully Electrify America has learned from this and they won't do that anymore. I know with the new Volkswagen ID.4s, they were doing like, you get Pass Plus, which I think is a great idea because it takes a little bit off obviously they're still paying you, so hopefully you can make money, because I would hope at some point Electrify America wants to be a profitable business, even though they had to exist because of a penalty. Let's not get into that. But anyways, it pushes people to go use your station, and they can hopefully like your station and then want to come back. Or if they don't want to, they can go test out other charge point operators like BP Pulse, Iona, EVgo, Mercedes-Benz, Tesla Supercharger Network. There's a lot of options now. And hopefully that'll also start to drive costs down, since people will have to be thinking about how much things cost and be going to the lowest price, the most affordable price, or at least the most convenient location with amenities that they like. So that's it with what I have with our time in the ID.4 and our free charging plan. I'm sure I upset some people, but that's just my personal opinion, and I'm entitled to that, and you all are entitled to yours. And like I said, I'm not judging anybody at all. It totally makes sense to take advantage of that free charging, but it's hard to deny the fact that it did create negative experiences for people and cause charging more than you need to. And hopefully we can move on from that, and people are going to buy EVs because they're great cars. They're good for the environment. That's not necessarily why I got one, but it is better for the environment than most things. And also just because they're like quiet, and they're a nice place to be in on long road trips, or even just your daily commute. So that's all I have. If you haven't already, please remember to give a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit that hype button, and I'll catch you all next time.